Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Las Vegas. On the broadcast today, Drew Johnson joins us. He's the Republican candidate for CD3, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers. Big R in Sparks is located on Bering Boulevard next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. It's a 50,000 square foot hardware store and a whole lot more. It's your spring headquarters with lawn and garden supplies, power equipment, and outdoor living. Big R on Bering Boulevard in Sparks next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. Big R, hardware and a whole lot more.
Carson Valley Inn, it's your place for the good times. Carson Valley Inn.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We are delighted to welcome back to the program Drew Johnson. He is a candidate for CD3 on the Republican side, running against Susie Lee. Pleasure to have you back, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Last time you were running for county commission, so close.
I would have been the first Republican in 14 years to be the county commissioner here in Clark County. We've got 7 county commissioners, so that shows how long it's been, how many people have taken a shot. And we were elected on election night. I won by about 3,000 votes, and then over the course of counting the ballots as they came in, ended up losing about 336 out of 110,000 ballots.
Wow, that is amazing. And one of the things that not only surprised me but pleased me was you did not ask for a recount. Why?
Well, there are a couple reasons. First of all, financially, it's very expensive to do a recount here in Nevada. It's about $120,000 or so to recount that race. But I knew that I felt confident that the ballots had been counted fairly. Look, I wish that the way that ballots were done here weren't done that way. Democrats obviously have sort of made the rules to benefit them with some of the ability they have to ballot harvest, and that's what they kind of get to do, dominating the state legislatures they do. We as Republicans just have to learn to play that game, and I feel confident. One of the reasons I got in this race for Congress is because I believe that Republicans will ballot harvest. I believe that Republicans will get out to vote. And that's one of the real frustrations for me, Sam, is that in my district we had 24,000 Republicans who didn't vote. And again, I lost by 336 votes. So we can say all we want about, rigged elections or about machines or whatever, but the fact of the matter is we just have to get out and support our candidates. And if that's telling people that their votes are going to count, we need to do that. If that's having better candidates, working harder, having a platform that's more welcoming to more people, whatever that is, we just need to reach out to more people because we've got the Republicans we need to win. We just need to get them out to vote.
And it's fascinating too because, whatever rules you set up that you think are going to benefit you and your party, the reality is at some point the other party is going to be in power and they're going to get to use the same tools. And we saw this with Harry Reid and the filibuster, and how Mitch McConnell warned him that it was going to come back to bite him on Supreme Court justices, and of course it did. And the same thing, and there was an article, I'm sorry, I'm spacing on where I read it, but just in the last few days, that basically said Republicans have to do better at doing all the things that Democrats are doing and not complaining about them. And that's exactly what you're laying out here.
That's right. Basically, we're in a situation where we're playing basketball and we're not shooting the threes, and the Dems are shooting all the threes. We just have to embrace the reality of the situation, which is we've got universal mail. We've got to get out and ballot harvest, pick up the ballots from people who may not vote. I always say that I think I probably, of the people who knew they voted for me, I probably won by thousands of votes. But the fact of the matter is that the Culinary Union and other Democratic supporters got out with these slate cards, handed them to people, they filled out their ballot, and they picked up that ballot and turned it in. And I think, just like what you're saying right now, Republicans are a little behind, but I think that the day will come, and hopefully it's next year in 2024, where we can take our volunteers. We're better at door knocking. We're better at having community support, with churches and with people who come to Republican events and Republican women's and things like that. And we're going to get out, and we're going to get the ballots that we need and kind of turn this around on Democrats a little bit.
Do you think, with the number of people that are now registering independents, that is really going to be the core audience that people have to go after? Because it seems that people are just dramatically losing faith in the political parties.
Absolutely. And for Republicans, we have to understand that so many people are registered as independents who are more Republican leaning, who believe in free markets and limited government, who believe in a streamlined, accountable government. And so we have to reach out to those people. And that's certainly a big part of my campaign. I understand that there are Republicans who will vote for a Republican, that I won't get some Democrats. I mean, some Democrats just won't vote for somebody with an R after their name. But there are tens and tens of thousands of nonpartisans in my district who I know will vote for a Republican if that Republican can articulate the message of what Republicans stand for, which is less government, more freedom, lower taxes, more personal responsibility.
The Hispanic vote, how important is that to you?
It's crucial. I've got two very large minority populations in CD3. One is the Hispanic Latino vote, which is about 18%. And then CD3 is actually one of the most Asian American AAPI districts in the whole country. And so both of those groups of people traditionally, believe in faith, family, freedom, the sort of core tenets of the Republican Party. And I think a lot of them are small business owners, particularly here in Nevada, and explaining to them that, lower taxes, a lower regulatory burden, a better environment to operate a business, to raise your family in. Those are the sorts of things that Republicans can provide, that I can provide as a member of Congress. And I think it'll be really less of a challenge than it has been in the past to reach out to both Latino groups and Asian American groups.
One of the things that I've noted on the program is, my other life is running an advertising agency. So I'm responsible for companies and putting their message out. And I'm also responsible for selling to people the idea that I should be able to represent them. And the way that I do that is I say to companies, I can help you make more money. I don't tell them I can help me make more money. I tell them I can help you make more money. And that's marketing. That's the whole concept. Why would you hire somebody that you're just going to pay them money to? And it seems that, in the political world, it's all about elect me, elect me, elect me, rather than really what I can do for you in reality. Because there's a difference between, and I think that's why there are now so many independents, politicians have campaigned on these themes, and then when gotten into office have gone the completely different direction. So how do you respond to that in terms of how you communicate with your potential voters? Yeah,
I think one thing about me is that I have worked in free market, limited government think tanks. I've been a government watchdog. I'm recognized, I'm proud to say, as one of the leading taxpayer watchdogs as far as finding wasteful spending and saving taxpayers money. It's what I've done my whole career. So there's no doubt about where my heart is, what I believe in.
And I think that was the strength of your campaign for the county commission.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that there are a lot of people who go into running for elected office who don't know what they believe in. And I literally lived in my car when I was 23 years old for months and months, getting a nonprofit started to help give parents the opportunity to make sure their kids went to the school of their choice, to lower taxes, things like that. I started basically the equivalent of the Nevada Policy Research Institute. Ran it for about 10 years and obviously have worked in think tanks and in media since. And Yeah, that's one thing that's sort of different between me and Susie Lee is she's never had to work for a living. You know, she's been blessed that she hasn't had to have that struggle, but she doesn't really represent the people of CD3 in this time of high inflation, not sort of knowing what's coming next. She's not the ideal voice. And the other thing is, frankly, she's started rich and she's made herself richer by being in Congress. There were, I think, $3 million in stock trades that she never disclosed. She made a huge percentage on, and that's been well reported. And that sort of thing is what disgusts me and why I'm trying to run against. I want to be a congressman who's open and transparent. I don't want to use this job as a way to make money. I want to use this as a way to make people's lives better.
Okay, and I'm just going to jump in and say, to represent Susie Lee, that she's been working in politics for a very long time. She worked on the campaign of Jan Jones for mayor many, many years ago, and wrote public policy positions for her. And so I think that she had a career before she got into politics. And yes, she's wealthy, but I don't know the details of her personal finances. But her former husband was very successful and is very successful in the gaming industry. So, I just want to lay that out there and let her respond to that at an appropriate time. One of the problems, it seems to me, and this is both for Republicans and Democrats to deal with, is the national debt. And I also want to point out, as a first-term congressman, you are number 435 in the list of power.
I'm not chairing Ways and Means for sure.
Right, right. And you only have to have a conversation with Congressman Amodei to figure out just how long it takes to get into any kind of position of power in the House. But you look at the national debt, and how do you respond to that? Because we've seen both parties cutting taxes in one way or another. They're also raising taxes in one way or another. But the amount of money is just astonishing. And when people go to the grocery store right now, including me, you're just blown away by the pricing. And it's not necessarily the individual item. It's when you come to the end and you've got your 5 bags of groceries and they cost you what 10 or 12 bags of groceries cost you a couple of years ago. How do you respond to that?
The exact reason we're in this position is because we are printing money we don't have to pay for things we don't need in Congress. I mean,
and by the way, both sides
absolutely.
of the aisle.
And that, I think, gets at exactly why I wanted to run, because I believe we're going to be in a situation after the election where Republicans are going to control a lot of things in D.C. And one of the real frustrations I had when I was in D.C. working at the National Taxpayers Union, I worked there when George W. Bush was the president, when Republicans controlled both houses, could pass anything they wanted. And what did they pass? They passed more spending. And I thought, this isn't why I'm a Republican. This isn't why I work at a group like the National Taxpayers Union. I want to hold Republicans accountable. I think that I can be, once I'm elected, sort of the conscience of the Republican Party, really. Behind closed doors, say, it's great that we want to do these programs, but if you want to do them, we're cutting other programs to offset. We're cutting wasteful spending. And, as somebody who's literally saved taxpayers about $60 billion in my career by finding things that have been cut as a result of what I've found, I know that I'm the sort of person who can do that. So, while I certainly am not going to chair Ways and Means anytime soon and have that sort of influence, I think my influence will be making sure that Republicans live up to their promise of fiscal responsibility.
Well, at least you can do that for yourself. I mean, you can't
Absolutely.
change the whole party, but at least you can do that for yourself. Let's take a break. We'll come back more with Drew Johnson running for CD3 after this timeout.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low, and our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way, because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, Trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, continuing our conversation with Drew Johnson. He is the Republican candidate for CD3, running against Susie Lee. So you talked in the previous segment about cuts. And that leads to the obvious question, what things would you cut? Which constituents would you upset?
I think one thing is that we can't have sacred cows. I mean, we have to be able to go in and cut things that will upset people. But the example I can give right now is, with Ukraine. Obviously, it's completely unacceptable for a sovereign nation to invade another one, but it's not necessarily our role to write blank checks to Ukraine. And one thing I did a lot of research about a few years back was how the money was used in Afghanistan. And we had a situation where we gave $5 million to build 2 gas stations, refuel stations that were never used. We gave, I think, $800,000 to build a storage building that was made out of some sort of a polymer that melted because their weather is basically the same as we have here in Vegas. So those sorts of things, to not learn from those mistakes, to not have the sort of the accountability, the watchdog role there to make sure that money was well spent in Afghanistan, I don't think that things are any better right now with Ukraine. So that's one example of a very easy cut that I think we can make while still not just turning our backs on the people who need help.
The other side of that coin, of course, is that who in Congress is going to say less money for the military? I mean, that's one of the things that we continuously hear is we need to spend more money on defense. We're concerned about Russia. We're concerned about China. We're concerned about Iran. We have friends all around the world that we wish to support, and yet, we're not spending the money, or we are spending the money rather to support them. I can't disagree with you that some of the numbers are crazy, but at the same time, it seems that we don't have much choice in doing what we're doing, and the recriminations come after. We have to take a very quick break here for a technical issue, and we'll be right back. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Remember 2010 in Northern Nevada, 13 to 14% unemployment, thousands of homes in foreclosure, Nevada's casinos closing? Families in the Reno-Sparks area were hurting. Many were losing everything. Then Story County launched a game changer for our region, a public-private industrial partnership, streamlined permitting, slashed bureaucracy, attracting Fortune 500 companies that made Nevada their home. Story County generated a river of cash to area communities. Economic studies by the state and others for the Gigafactory consistently show positive economic benefits for our region. $4 billion in local wages, $17 billion in consumer spending and economic activity, over $100 million in taxes to Washoe, Story, Reno, Sparks, and Nevada, just for the Gigafactory alone. Story County, improving Northern Nevada one industry at a time.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the air conditioning back on today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why sweat for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your air conditioning fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Drew Johnson. He is a Republican candidate for CD3 running against Susie Lee. And I had to cut you off for technical difficulties after my long drawn out points about military spending, but I want to give you the chance to respond.
Republicans can't be scared to cut waste and misuse tax dollars in the Pentagon. And that's one thing I sort of made my career finding. Recently, I talked about the F-35 fighter jet program, which has been a huge debacle. It's been the single most expensive government program in history. And the jets are not safe, they're not useful. That's the sort of thing that I'm happy to say, I'm sorry, contractor who makes those jets, or I'm sorry, whatever foreign power it may be. But it's not appropriate to use our hard-earned tax dollars that way. The thing, when I mentioned earlier, I'd save taxpayers $60 billion. The first real big chunk of money I'd save taxpayers was actually a Pentagon recruitment program that we looked at and found that it hadn't recruited a single soldier, not one. And we've been able to save taxpayers over $1 billion just by cutting that one example of wasteful spending. So, what it all comes down to is, in this time where we need to cut taxes, we need to reduce spending, we need to bring down the debt so that we can stop inflation, it's not our job to throw money willy-nilly around the world. It's our job to sort of tighten our budget, tighten our belt a little bit, and really prioritize. And I think one of the real frustrations about how Susie Lee's voted recently is with the debt ceiling vote that happened just a few weeks back now. And I wouldn't have voted for the bill as Speaker McCarthy put it forward, because while it did some good things, I think there should be work requirements to get food stamps. That makes a lot of sense. Some of the COVID relief money that hasn't been spent yet, it's getting drawn back and being used in other ways rather than just being frittered away. But ultimately, we have to get spending back to where it was at pre-COVID levels, because during COVID, we ratcheted up government spending so much. But we don't have those issues anymore. We're not paying people not to work. We're not having to do these investments in health care.
Okay, but let me ask you this. The inflation that has taken place, that's not going away. These prices are not coming down. You go to a car dealer and you're looking at some kind of luxury car, there's a $10,000 premium on some cars, and I was just talking to somebody last night who's looking to buy an Escalade. There was a $20,000 premium above MSRP on that vehicle. The prices are not coming back down, or do you see a different picture? Because I don't.
I think that the best we can hope for is sort of stop the bleeding, quite frankly. And that's not going to happen unless we have people like me in Congress who are going to be willing to say, everybody can't get everything they want. We've got to prioritize. We've got to be in a position where we can stop printing money and making our money worthless. And that's exactly, we need, hundreds of people in Congress with my way of thinking, and hopefully we can get there. And again, going back to my point earlier about being sort of a conscience for the Republican Party, I think that I can work with members of Congress in order to cut some of the spending, reduce some of the waste, and bring down the federal government's impact on the economy and the sort of weight on taxpayers, and that's what I'd like to do.
All right, so we're talking about money. One of the things that's going to have to occur in your race is to raise a lot of money. How much money do you think that you are going to have to raise?
Look, Sam, this will be probably the most expensive congressional seat in America.
In America?
Last time when April Becker ran against Susie Lee, it was a $50 million race. It was almost unheard of. But I think I've positioned myself in a way that I can raise enough money by, personally for my campaign, that will be attractive for the outside money to come in. But really, my goal isn't to spend dollar for dollar with Susie Lee, because that rarely happens between Republicans and Democrats. I just need to be able to get my message out, explain to voters why I'm a better candidate than Susie Lee, what I hope to bring to them, and we'll have the money to do that. I feel very confident.
Is there discussion, I know you wouldn't be able to be involved in it, of a PAC supporting you? Or multiple PACs for that matter?
Obviously, once the money starts being spent, I don't have any say in how that works. But I do know that if I hit certain thresholds with my campaign fundraising and some of the other efforts I'm making, that it'll be more appealing for other people to get in. But this is, it's one of the most competitive seats in America. It's a district that's very, very close. Quite frankly, if I'd run in this district last time with the sort of numbers I had, I would have beaten Susie Lee, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to run, because it's a winnable race. I can make a big difference. I work literally every day giving lawmakers in Congress good ideas, and I just get to cut out the middleman. Rather than writing good ideas and giving them to good lawmakers, I can just introduce them myself. But this is a winnable race. It's a race that is probably the #1 seat in America as far as a Democratic seat that can flip Republican. And I'm going to work my ass off to make sure that happens.
Okay, and that may be the quote of the day right there.
There you go.
We will always welcome Susie Lee to come on the program, and would love to have a debate with you guys on the program as well, and we'll welcome you back as well. So it's going to be a fascinating time going up to this election.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here as always, and we'll be right back. Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Hi, I'm Renee Summerauer, digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Event Center sits at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2 floors of meeting and event space are ideal for groups and conventions. Stay in one of 200 luxurious rooms and suites. Brand your event throughout the property. Flexible event spaces make for easy planning and personalization. Take over the entire hotel with a full buyout option.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We'll see you on the next broadcast.